We hadn't done that. Well, hadn't had an opportunity at home yet, but we at least hadn't done it on the road. So I think certainly a point of emphasis coming in, wanted to take care of the one on Thursday, and then it was really important that 36 hours later that we were able to flip the switch and get ready for another, big game today. So really proud of our kids. I thought we got out to an outstanding start, both offensively and defensively. I have to give them credit the way they just kind of kept chipping away. I thought we got a little bit sloppy there in the second quarter, and some moments in the second half, but ultimately really proud of the way that our kids stepped up and started the game and finished the game, really.
Coach, go ahead.
Kendall finished kind of coming to her own a little bit. You kind of see early what she can be capable of, but it seems like during this pretty important stretch, she's kind of showing up a little bit.
Yeah, it's been awesome. I mean, we need it. I think our bench has been outstanding, really. All four of them, especially, when Katie Pauley goes down and, we're down one in a rotation, it was just huge. I think she played great, played with a lot of confidence, and she always does. I think she just keeps getting better and better. I think the thing that I've just been so impressed with her is she just competes so hard every day, and I think that's really accelerated her growth. Is just she's not afraid to fail. She's not afraid to put herself out there. She competes and just did a great job. I mean, it wasn't just her knocking down some open threes. I mean, the slash she had to the basket, reading that on the backside. I mean, that's the second game in a row where the game's kind of in the tilt right there, and she has a huge slash to the basket. The other night was on the other side of the court, and tonight was on on the left side. So I thought just really starting to understand. She's really picking things up on the defensive end of the floor for us, and I think it's given her, just a lot of confidence then flowing into the offensive end. And she's always been a kid that can score, so it's been great to see her this weekend really step up and have 2 career games.
Yeah. Coach, what is it about her or Kamen, or not every freshman is made equal, right?
Yeah.
Someone can step up and handle that moment. How is she just walking into these moments and going, yeah, I'll knock it down, don't worry?
She doesn't think about it. She just competes. Like I said, I think from very first time she stepped on campus this summer, I mean, she certainly there's a lot of things going through her head, trying to figure things out. But some freshmen get bogged down with just starting to think too much, just trying to please, just trying to do everything right, and they forget how to compete. And I think that's the biggest thing is she's just competed from the jump, and she's somebody that you can coach. It's really important that we can coach her. Like, I can turn around and say something to her and try to fix it and get on her, and it doesn't faze her. She might not like it, but it doesn't kill her confidence. And so it's great because it allows me to be able to coach her without thinking, can I say what I need to say to her or not? And so I think that's really helped her. And whether she has thick skin or not, I don't know, but she takes it, and so I think it's accelerated her growth, and she's just come out and just had just that competitive edge from the beginning. And really, that's what turned the tide for Kamen. When Kamen started doing that her freshman year, it turned the tide for her. I think fortunately, Kendall has had that a little bit sooner maybe, but I see a lot of similarities with those two for sure.
Look, this is going on year 4 for you. I mean, and I've asked you every year, how do you take a new pieces of the puzzle and fit them in perfectly? Because every year you get a new piece, and you guys just seem to keep winning. What about your philosophy or your style or your mentorship or development? What is it that kind of helps your teams fit the mold perfectly as you guys get closer to conference tournaments?
I don't know. It's really hard. It's really hard. I mean, we work really hard at it. Our staff works really hard at it. I mean, we ask a lot of our kids. They work really hard at it. It's when you have a weekend that comes together like this, it feels really good. That's what makes it so rewarding, because you know how much time you're putting in behind the scenes, how much of a commitment your kids are making to be successful and to continue to buy into the process and really try to do what we're asking them to do. And so then when you see them have success with it, I mean, it feels great. But I think the most important thing is just recruiting to things that are important to us, high IQ kids that are unselfish, that are willing to buy into something bigger than themselves. Certainly you have to have, from a basketball standpoint, kids that, we love kids that can shoot it and put the ball in the basket, but, the defensive end of the floor has been really important too. So I don't know. I think trying to recruit kids that fit our style and our makeup and really what our needs are.
Coach, how does someone at Kamen's height as a guard consistently rank in the top 5, top 2, top 10 in different rebounding statistics. How does she pull that off?
Just a competitiveness, a nose for the ball, a will and a want. I think a lot of it, if you look at her and how she rebounds, if you just break down how she goes to the boards, it's a will and a want. I mean, she just goes and gets after it. And, even though she's good sized guard, she might not be 6 foot, but she's always had that strong physical build, and she uses that to her advantage. And, it's something that we emphasized early on freshman year, was really try to, something we thought could separate her in terms of giving her kind of an extra advantage to create those minutes early. And early on it was defense and rebounding. I always felt like she could score, but she could really separate herself in her ability to defend and her ability to rebound. And, last year she used to say, I know who's shooting the ball, I'm just going to go get it, And so, I think she anticipates well, she understands. And that's why it's really important that we take shots that we practice and are within our offense, because then we have a better, you can anticipate a little bit better shots that are going to go up to then try to get an early read on it. And she just goes and competes.
Can you put into words what it means to you as the coach to have someone like a Lacey Stokes in years past, and now came and really take that torch as the go-to player, who's also someone who always wanted to be a Lady Bear? I mean, it seems like if you're creating the perfect player, I thought that about Lacey, and now you look at Cayman, it's like, okay, it's a similar situation. What does that mean to you as a coach?
It's huge. I think you really want kids who really value and understand what it means to be here. And those are 2 great examples. There's obviously been some throughout our history that have been in similar situations, whether it's previous players from Marshfield or other areas, right around here. But it means something to them. It means more to them. And so I just think I need the heads up on the next one, because we've been fortunate to have Lacey and Cayman there together, and I think it's the important thing for us is we gotta go find the next one ready to come in and do that for us when Cayman's finishing up. So.
What effect do you see she has on the opposing coaching staff? Because they obviously need to know where she is at all times. What do you see then, and how does that open up things for the rest of the team?
I mean, I certainly we certainly have to game plan against a lot of other really good players too. So, I liken it to kind of the same thing, as much as I'm stressing about some other teams and their top players and their big time scorers. I'm sure they go through similar things, with somebody like Cayman. But I do think, there's things that Cayman does that, I always say, you can put a scouting report together and you can try to put a game plan, but really what separates the good players from the great players is they've got to do things you can't scout. That they do things in broken play moments, in toughness moments, that it's, as a coach, it's hard to scout that stuff. And so I think Cayman's really started to kind of figure some of that stuff out.
Coach, is there a timetable for Katie Polly coming back?
Kind of hard to say. She broke her ankle. I think we're looking at probably anywhere from, I've been told, maybe 4 to 6 weeks. So it's kind of hard to say. We'll have another X-ray in 2 weeks and just see how her bone is healing. But I think, mentally we're going into it, hopefully, that we can get her back for a stretch run, whatever point, in who knows, conference tournament, postseason, I don't know. But I think our goal is to certainly try to keep playing basketball long enough that she can get another game under her belt.
Today was the first day that you really had to switch up the starting lineup, had Maisha out there. How'd you like that look of having both her and Lane Douglas on the floor at the same time?
Well, I love having Lainey and Maisha playing there together. I think it's been a great lineup for us all year. I didn't like it with the expense of CP not being an option today. There's no question about that. But, certainly things we can't control. We've played that lineup together a lot all year. Just the biggest difference for us was obviously starting the game that way. But certainly miss CP, the things that she brings to the table. You're another rotation down, because CP can play a 4 for us. She can be a guard. You can do some different things just rotation-wise with her. So, that was a little bit of an adjustment, just trying to kind of think through some of that stuff. But, it's part of it. So we'll continue to adjust and keep moving and hopefully keep getting better. And who knows, somewhere along the line, maybe it'll be a blessing in disguise if we can develop some of these other kids, bring them along, and then eventually get her back in the rotation.
What'd you make of Kendall Bergen stepping up in the way that she did today to try to fill that role of Katie Polly?
She was huge. I mean, she had a great weekend. I mean, just an outstanding weekend, and just great to see. You know, it's the right time for her to really be figuring it out. And I mean, she was a difference maker in both games, no question about it. You know, I think it's easy to probably look at this game and, you know, see that we won, you know, by 20 or whatever it was, but she made some big time plays in some key moments when the game was on the line. And so she did that the other night too. So it's not just her making those plays in moments that don't have pressure, or moments that, you know, we're up by 20. I mean, she's making those plays right now that's stretching the lead for us and really impacting the outcome of the game. And we need it. We need our bench to be really good.
Coach, real quick, 2 questions. Obviously, right, today was a huge thing, right, honoring silver anniversary of the 01 Bears. You make sure, right, that you have Jackie come and speak at the game or other things. Why is it important for you that you make sure the current players understand how important the past players were for them?
Yeah, I mean, they set the groundwork. They, you know, they're the tradition and the history behind this program, and you don't know and have the following and the buy-in from the community and all that without both those teams, without that era of Lady Bear basketball. And certainly, you know, it's been great to have that in the recruiting process. You know, kids know that you know, everything's been done here except win a national championship, so you can make it whatever you want to. But I always think it's important, regardless of the tradition and history, just in general, for them to understand who's come before them, who's paved the way, who has laid the groundwork for them to have some of the opportunities they have. And, you know, some of the, I mean, you walk them through, I was walking them through before I came over, and they see our facilities, and it's like, God, they would have dreamed to have had a locker room that looked like that. And so I think just our kids not taking for granted those that have paved the way before them, and, you know, had an opportunity to have them in the locker room. And several of them, the whole team was in there, and several of them spoke, you know, were able to speak to the team after the game. And I just think it's great to have them kind of give a little bit of their perspective. And, you know, 25 years later, you know, it seems like a long time, but before you know it, it's going to be Cayman coming back and talking to the teams, the current teams, and it goes so quickly. But I think it's just important for them to have an opportunity to you know, recognize those that have come before them and laid the groundwork for them here.
All right, last one. Coach Burnett here at halftime, she and Jackie talked to us. She mentioned that very softly that she did try to recruit you back in the
Yeah.
day. Do you have any recollection of that at all? I mean, any thought about, let's see, Notre Dame, SMS, which one I want to go to?
No, I really do, because they were so good. I mean, that's what caught my attention. I wanted to go somewhere that you could compete at the highest level. And you know, Southwest Missouri State, you know, I was graduating I graduated high school in '93, so that first team was coming through, you know, as I was kind of in my decision-making process, they were really good. And so that caught my attention. I certainly remember Cheryl. I think I had, you know, weekly handwritten notes in my mailbox. You know, at some point I'll go back home, and I know I kept some stuff, some of the important letters and some of them that meant something to me. And I will bet you anything that there's a Southwest Missouri State one in there, because they were capturing taking the nation by storm and kind of capturing the imagination of so many. And I just remember watching them, certainly from afar. But yeah, I really do remember being recruited by Cheryl, no question.
Scary question. I know you guys played 4 years apart technically, but if you and Jackie had ever teamed up, how dangerous would that backcourt be?
Probably pretty good. I probably would have had to pass a lot more. Would have had to get her the ball a lot more. I understood what my role was at Notre Dame, but I probably would need to get a lot more assists and get her the ball, that's for sure.
I watched some of your footage from the game against Arkansas. Didn't know you were that good, okay? You had 3 balls from today, just corner, I was like, damn, bro, man, you don't get to be all-time leading scorer in program history for me, right?
No, I had a fun experience and a lot of fond memories, you know, at Notre Dame. And you know, it's similar, although we were at different schools, very similar in terms of kind of our path. You know, she stayed close to home. You know, she stayed relatively close to home. I stayed relatively close to home, but we both were a part of taking 2 programs to a Final Four. And so I know how special that journey was, and so I can relate a lot to. We were kind of the Cinderella back then, just like they were kind of the Cinderella, Jackie's year when she came out. So it's pretty neat. I feel like we can relate.